Yes. I did not update the description because it kind of still applies, and I thought it was a good text. Let me play music this stream until someone complains. Which means I'm just going to play that and turn this off. Put that on. Yeah, something like that, I think. Testing 1, 2. Right. Mr. Poe, hello, and Matthias. If you don't like the music, then just tell me and I'll turn it off. Or when it is too loud or something. Yeah, here I do have to pass Vulkan handle vector of the descriptor sense. When creating this pipeline. In other words, something that has this type. Well, you never know what the namespaces are that I use. Let's grab for that. And then we see that a vector of that type exists in the shader input data, which we then can access through an accessor, I bet. No, ooh, what? This is private, it's also private, so it's no way to get to that. Well, I have to add an accessor for it. Public. Let's look for the word accessor. That is accessor. Somewhere at the bottom, I guess. I don't know. It's first stage, yeah. I'll just put it at the bottom. And return a const reference. Call it the same without the prefix. It's an accessor, so it's a const. And we return it. Well, that is, we return a reference to it. And this is inside namespace Vulkan pipeline. So there's no need to put here a Vulkan. It also exists here. It's probably a local function. It's not a local function. Oh, it's what I want to copy it to. Yeah. The pipeline has this vector here, and I need to initialize it with this constructor. So I need to pass the other thing to the constructor. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. If it keeps doing that, like every other song, then I'm going to have to debug my audio system, or maybe I should just I'm having a very low latency at the moment. I think that might be related, but I need a low latency in order to be able to listen to myself. I think I have a latency of 2 milliseconds or something like that. No, I already figured out what the problem was, right? It's because mPlayer is taking the jack client down. I just need a different player. One that can play MP3 without taking jack down. That would solve it. Yeah, it's doing it again. I just type a space and I get here in some kind of temporary bash file. It's extremely weird. Yeah. Nobody knows what that is, or what it is causing. PI. This is accessor that I added before to the pipeline itself. Well, yeah, then it's still problematic. It means that I need some kind of shader data, shader input data object here. But which? I have a lot of them. Theoretically, I have a lot of them. Noise or nice? Or nice noise? Hi. I think the creation of a pipeline requires a full vector descriptor set, and that is constructed with this function here, which constructs it from sorted descriptor set layouts with a one-on-one size. Hello, Atanas. I'm hoping for a comment that it's not supported, that this thing is being merged. Oh, it's just here too. I must be confused or what? Let me instead look for that sort thing. Empty sorted set layouts. That is the declaration. The comment debug output set layouts and not find if. It's probably around and place back. So some thread is calling that. I thought that maybe it was a running over the field. Most of it is shaded input data. I don't think the user code is interesting here. Let me think. Most of those lines I recognize, but I still don't remember or see the pattern that I'm looking for. So here, and sort of the descriptor set layout is being filled. Well, that happens by calls of this function. Guess I'll just have to look for callers of that function. So a single call is for a given set index hint. Settings in with the descriptor set layout binding. Okay, it looks if it can find a set index hint, and if it cannot, it appends to sort of descriptor set. So yeah, it's just the number of different set index hints being passed to this function. I said that 2 streams ago also, I think. I mean, we have been there before, and this is being called from here. So this is in a loop over m bindings, so it's the number of different set index hints in m bindings. Generate one should only be called once per pipeline creation. So we have only one m bindings, I guess. Then where is bindings being filled? That happens here with a call to update binding. Yeah, it's a complex maze. Complex maze, definitely. Update binding is a called from DLS ID prefix is used in. From the shader resource declaration context. You would think that by now I know how this works, right? It's being called from here. The resource file is used in. This is just called from the the shader parsing, so it's definitely once per pipeline, but multiple characteristics could be involved, if you ask me. Or am I totally wrong here? I would say theoretically I could create a pipeline where one characteristic takes care of a certain vertex shader, and another characteristic takes care of the fragment shader, maybe. Now if that would be the case, I would have 2 characteristics that store but that doesn't know, that do not know anything about. That would never work. It cannot work. It is not good. Both. It's black magic and I'm confused as fuck. Really, the main problem here that I keep running into lately is that I have not written a single test that actually uses different characteristics of my pipeline factories. So I have no overview whatsoever what kind of things are involved there. But the code I'm writing already forces me to take it into account somehow. So that's really, yeah, leading to that I just don't know what to do. So I already often took the approach to then write some kind of hack, just something that, you know, it's not flexible, it's not general, but at least it will make this current test application work. But the code keeps nagging me with this non-understanding of me of the different characteristics that I have. So the problem is that I recently even moved it from the characteristic to do something else, which is not also not making sense. It feels like the program feels like a crystal that is not perfect. So there's all kinds of tensions in it and shifts, and it's going to break somewhere, and then hopefully, I mean, if everything would go perfectly, then at some point it snaps, and then it jumps, and then bang, everything is exactly in the correct place, and then we have a perfect crystal. But right now there is all kinds of discontinuities. How the fuck do you pronounce that? Discontinuities. Yeah, I started coding when I was 12. Now I'm 58, so I don't know. 46 years, 28 years of C++. This one specific thing is why can I not wrap my head around it? I feel stupid. The one specific thing is this vector here. It is a table of set indexes against allocated descriptor sets, having used being allocated using the H handles of descriptor set layouts. And that is a full pipeline thing, not a single characteristic thing. But if that is the case, then how is it possible that I'm using a single shader input data object, which is a member, still at least, of a pipeline characteristic, and only one characteristic? Something is wrong. Something is wrong here. I'm going to look at and then meditate again. Combination of looking and meditating is on where exactly I'm feeling this thing, and then try to understand why at that moment it seems that I'm only needing one shader input data object. I really don't understand this. I mean, it feels like something is wrong, right? So okay, let's be clear. That's a type. Do I ever have anything in front of this? So anything, space anything dot. Yeah, that's once, that's a vulkan, yeah. I don't think I ever have this, no. Well, I can just use, this regular expression, I suppose. And then the shader input data object has a vector, yeah, and that's being filled. And the confusing part is that I would say, how is that possible? Because this shader input data object is stored in the characteristic. Just added the accessor. Pretty sure I just did this as well. Guess this is all commented out, right? It's not commented out. Yeah, well, it is commented out with a -0, so it's so I can still see the syntax highlighting. But no, I'm only seeing a single place where it is being filled. Simply by a call to allocate a script set. Yes. Which is mysteriously, very mysteriously, a member of shader input data. Suppose that this one is no. What? Oh, it is. This is just passing it through. So this is a member function of a characteristic range, which then passes it through to the shader input data. So someone else is calling it on the characteristic range, and then I suppose that is I must say this call. Yep, and we do that for every characteristic. One after another. Okay, doesn't feel really right, I must say, but well, I really cannot imagine that a certain characteristic of a pipeline that I'm creating is doing a given shader. And then another characteristic, which kind of by default must be orthogonal, so independent, and that another characteristic would be working on the same shader, because the two characteristics may not work on the same shader, because they must be independent. But theoretically, it would be possible, I guess, that one characteristic is doing, say, the vertex shader, and another characteristic is doing the fragment shader. So assume that is the case. Then I would be calling handle shader resource creation request for the characteristic that is doing the vertex shader, and another call, handle shader resource creation request, on the characteristic that is doing the fragment shader. Now, the fragment shader could, for example, refer a texture, one or more textures, say, and the vertex shader could refer to one or more uniform buffers, both of which are shader resources. So then I would have my uniform buffers and my textures being handled independently created basically by 2 of these calls. So now the meditation begins. The meditation is now exists of I'm going to follow this and assume that we can do that in parallel. I know they happen one after another in this loop, but I'm following this function and I'm saying to myself, okay, we're going to call this function once for creation of uniform buffers, and then after that we're calling also this function for the creation of the textures. Okay, and I would simply passes it to the mShader input data object, which is this function. And what that then is doing, it calls get vulkan handle vector with descriptor set layouts. Yeah, and that's really confusing. That really does not feel correct. I mean, if this is really totally independent, that would mean that my textures and my uniform buffers most definitely go in different shader sets, or they're really well. These are the handles to the shader set layout. So I would just have different layouts and thus different descriptor sets for both texture and uniform buffer, and that doesn't sound very efficient. But okay, suppose this get function here is working magically. It does, it's pure magic and it does the right thing. Then we have another problem, because that gives me a vector of descriptor set layout with a number of set indexes which start at 0, because it's a vector and the first element is at set index 0. That cannot be helped. And on the second call also, I cannot have 2 different descriptor set layout handles, both using set index 0. No, not possible. So this is really wrong. This is definitely wrong. This function cannot be part of shader input data. Okay, now the most logical thing to do would be say, well, yeah, I just want a single one, a single function. So that function then must be part of the pipeline factoring. I also must have a single set binding map. Oh, that's a good one. How many set binding maps do I have here? Only one. Haha, I have only one. You got it. Okay, so let's pretend that this is not a for loop. I'm just going to call handle shader resource creation request on the pipeline, which is the current object where we are in. Then of course everything it uses must be a member of the pipeline factory and not of the shader input data. And well, it doesn't use anything, it just prints that we enter this function. This assert does. All the m underscore things are members, but well, I'm not going to concentrate on an assert for this. This is calling a member function, but we assumed that it was magically working. So let's look at the rest. Then I get logical device, that will also be no problem. And I have here an m underscore. Here's another m underscore. And then this m underscore variable is being used here. That's it. I wrote this in a few hours of the previous stream, I think. Yeah, previous 2 streams even. It's pretty new code, this. Now this, whatever it is, it's being assigned here for the first time and then being used here. So I can just move that to the pipeline factory, and then if this function is being called only once, then yeah, well, this has also be stored. Should also be stored in the pipeline factory. So that's not a problem really. Then what about the required shader resources list? That's also pretty new, very recent vector, I think, that I added. Let's have a look at where that is being used. There's a pushback. Oh, let's do a read only. Request shader resource creation. I think that those are called from the add functions, add texture and stuff like that. Yeah, here add texture and add uniform buffer. At the bottom, is a shader input data. Yep, totally characteristic. So then I would have to move this as well, saying that you cannot add a texture or a uniform buffer or any shader resource to a single characteristic. That those things really are something that must be centrally controlled by the pipeline factory object itself. So these will have to move then also to the pipeline factory, which then raises the question, what members are we using here? And that of course is a lot. GLSLID to shader resource. Insert. Also feels then that it has to be moved up, I must say. And the shader variables, yeah, also. In the end, almost everything, right? Everything that has to do with pre-processing and compiling. You have to wonder if there is anything that cannot be moved to the pipeline factory. That is part of the shader input data. It's just that it is such a huge thing. So yeah, but I think I have to answer the question here, which members of the shader input data object here are part of the characteristic range that it points back to, and which cannot be controlled or independently manipulated by a single characteristic range. Vertex attributes. Okay, now let's say this is a characteristic specific thing. That would mean that different characteristics can contribute their own vertex shaders, vertex shader input sets. Don't ask me what that is. I think everything stands and falls with the possibility to merge the data, because in the end I am merging stuff. And some stuff I have not merged because this isn't possible. Is this being merged somehow? Where? Let's have a look at merge. The push constants can be merged, and the vertex input attribute description list and binding description list. Let's pick one. Vertex input attribute, whatever. This one. It's a vector of vectors. And then at some point someone calls add, passing a vector of vertex input attribute description. I wish you could search for the add here, but I gave it a very short name. Are we currently compiling? No, we're not. I have 2 question marks in the code. Seems to be the only thing that it is dying on, so I'm just going to comment this out for a bit, for a moment. Now we are compiling, and I want to investigate who's calling this, right? So I'm just going to rename it to add to. Try to compile that. I want to use the I mean, this is frame resources count. I want to use the other test application, if possible. Also frame resource count. Don't tell me that's the only one. Oh, right, it is. The uniform buffer test is not using a vertex stuff, so okay. Well, yeah. Okay then, so this is an initialize member of a pipeline characteristic, and that characteristic says I am going to provide you with data in this vector. I'm going to fill this vector. And then it fills it. And how does it fill it? It fills it by copying whatever the shader input data returns, being vertex input attribute descriptions. Yeah, that's something that that's constructed here. Pushback stuff. Yeah. Okay. I think that what I should do is not put too much time into this, because I just cannot know it. I just cannot know it until I really have multiple characteristics and I get a clear example. So I think that what I should do is move the whole shader input data object into the factory, which completely breaks the whole characteristic thing. But yeah, my test applications only have a single characteristic anyway, at the moment. Because I don't know how else to do this. certainly not mean that there are certain ways I could start working on this, but I'm already in the middle of a brain surgery. I don't want to do this. Shader input data. I think that's what I'm going to do, yeah. Of course, our music stopped again. This better be commented out code, otherwise I don't get it. Initialize X, add M shader input data. Change the state create infos. Shit, sorry. Okay, yeah, well, we have something that compiles right now, right? I mean, even though I commented stuff out. And the diff is what? It looks like I want to commit it. Yeah, it's all work in progress. But it's always better, I think, to commit before I start to work on something where I really have no idea where it goes. Here we have something that had a fix me. This doesn't belong here, and that's in the window class. And I moved this. This is the vector that I was talking about. That now I want to have one-off in the pipeline factory. And I moved it from the window to the shader input data object, but that's part of a pipeline characteristics. So probably not really a good move. I can delete this. I sure write a lot of code per day. Cannot deny that. Yeah, there's some dirty stuff here, but although also these fix me's here. Okay, I'm going to I'm going to add a non-constant accessor for this thing first. And then we make it private. So I already have a public accessor. And then I'm going to actually I want to know why this is public. Is it necessary to be public? What happens if I make it protected? I mean, probably you should get compile errors, but do I get it? That's not many, at least. Shader input data is a protected member being called here. Frame resources count window. I feel a similarity with the uniform buffers and the textures. So instead of having this in the code of the user, this is a window.h, so basically it's a user code. I could have the user just tell the engine that it has vertex buffers. It could register this thing here in exactly the same way as currently I do that for textures and uniform buffers. And then you had something like add vertex buffers. And then this would be the create callback. So I definitely see a big similarity there. And that would be nice because we can get rid of this whole block of user code, which is no user will ever understand that they have to write this, right? I mean, what the fuck is this doing? Doesn't look like anything that spells out what it is testing. So I think it should be moved to the engine, yeah. But now it is not yet. We need, apparently for that reason, public access to the shader input data. Okay. Now I'm going to add a protected accessor that is gives non-const access. And I'm going to make this one private. And because it is private, we cannot use it anymore in the derived class. So add a GPS here for it. And as you can see, I'm accessing it. This is just a comment. Declaration, and this is what I just added, and all this has all private access because this is the characteristic range class itself. And this is not a comment, and the rest is just source tests. The derived window class. No, not the derived window class, but a characteristic of the test. So, if I change these files, and everywhere where I see M shader input data, I can replace that with an accessor. Okay, everywhere except here. It's not even part of this object anymore. I'm good. It's a temporary thing anyway, so who cares, right? Let me... It's completely wrong. It's pointing to an owning window, but no, yeah, okay. I'm gonna call this a pipeline factory. I'm going to move it to that. So in the end, let's replace all of these things with same thing. Yeah, exactly the same thing. Or not. This is still called characteristic. Pretty sure that it should compile now, because Didn't really change anything. Yep. And then I'm going to edit those accessors. Let me first move this now to the pipeline. Gotta be kidding me. It has a this pointer to the characteristic range. Ouch. And when do I need it? When do I use that rather? At least it is private and it's not being used. Thank God. It is really not being used, right? Before I delete it. Totally not. Okay, so let's get rid of it. And then let's go back here, or where was I? Characteristic range. So if I remove that thing, then it's not going to be initialized like this anymore. But I guess it's the fix me here already was wondering about it. Is this correct? This way we have a shader input data per characteristic range. Question mark, exclamation mark. And indeed, it was not correct. Let me move this to the pipeline factory. Yeah. Yeah, probably also need const access, right? Anyway. Let's add a batch. I don't know if I need other headers, but so this characteristic range now has access to this function by passing a batch. Try if we can include that. Pipeline factory. That is the last thing I'm waiting for. Pesky circular header dependencies. What do I want to inline this thing? Yeah, well, it feels a bit too difficult for now, so let's not concentrate on that. Oops. Shader input data. This is not shader input data. This is pipeline factory. Okay, I commented something out, right? I didn't see where I commented it out. What the hell? Nothing is commented out. I thought that one line where I have 2 question marks. That's not working. This line here. It is commented out. Oh, I committed it, I think. Committed it in the previous commit. Right, so I moved the shader input data in object to the pipeline factory. And now finally maybe I can fix this line here. Because this is the pipeline factory, and now I have access to the one and only shader input data. That in turn has this factor, for which we have an accessor. The name of this music? Magical Horizons by Sonic Fox from tunetank.com. Also, there's a link in the description for all the music. Yes, so, well, this calling have new datum, blah 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 blah, and then now I'm constructing a pipeline, passing, oh, not passing, it's on the wrong place then, what, really? I think I added to the wrong place. Oh, we can correct that, comma. It should have been there. I think that is better, yeah. And the datum names datum, which depends on whatever the template parameter is. So for this thing, it is move new pipelines. I guess it's datum is a standard pair of pipeline and unique pipeline. So yeah, pipeline is this. And then it's a pair, so this is the second part of the pair. moving the unique pipeline. Right, it compiles. Well, I have absolutely no idea where I am now, but no. And git diff is also not telling me anything. Hello, Zara. I'm going to run it and see where it crashes, right? Uniform buffer test. It crashes. Yes, it crashes. Oh, that one. Oh, right, yeah. I ran it this afternoon. And I already didn't like it then. And I definitely do not like it now. Because now I have to fix it. Logical device is not being set. This should not be called before logical device is initialized. So we're calling logical device a slightly tiny little bit too soon. Probably because I'm doing something in a constructor, which is of an object that is constructed very early, too early. Well, not too early, but I cannot do that in that constructor then. And what is it? How many weeks am I going to have to work and sweat to fix this one bug? That is the question. Which ubt gdp run assert and now we have the place. The place is here. Owning window logical device that returns a pointer, should return a pointer, is being used to initialize the logical device pointer of an mbfix owner. That's like the least important thing ever. But yeah, reality check. We cannot create an mbfix wherever I am creating it, apparently. Task synchronous window debug name prefix is called too early. It is called now in the constructor of IMG. So I'm passing the owning window to the IMG constructor. And I was all nice and dandy, but the whole window doesn't even exist yet, maybe, or what? I don't know. Let's have a look what the diff exactly did that this is causing this horror. I committed it today. Git blame. What? Maybe it wants me to pass a file name or something. Oh, lame. Yeah, that's today. It's even half an hour ago, 3/4 of an hour ago. Here it is. a brand new IMU constructor. Brand new. So apparently, yeah, we can just not do that. Where's IMU used? Deja vu. It's probably one of my histories, but let's do it again. That one. Yeah, most definitely. Logical device. No, okay. In other words, let's not do this. And let's not do this. Fix on an M font texture. No, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know. No clue. Website is unequal C++, not related. Yeah, I just had an error here. Call to implicitly delete the default constructor. IMU. Default constructor implicitly deleted because in font tag there's no default constructor. So what if I give it a default constructor? If I give it a default constructor, then ambifix is going to be default constructed, which means that it is empty, and then I have to initialize it later. That's not really a problem, is it? Later, before the move assign. But then when exactly? Probably at the moment that okay, let's be specific about this. Currently I really only want I'm due to be using this, right? Because if it's being used elsewhere, I have to check that that is also correct. I can add a batch here, and I need a real default constructor. When we are not in debug mode, and a fake one when we are calling it from IMU. Vulkan IMU. An ambiguous call. It doesn't know if it has to default construct an ambifix or a call batch. Yeah, well, yeah, okay. Can blame it, cannot blame it. I'll just pass batch explicitly. Wow, it compiles. Okay, now I still have to set the ambifix of this texture later on, which means when. Create a script, create pipeline, create frame resources, init. Ta-da! That is the one I was looking for. Which has an owning window and everything. Init. Here's the font texture. Font texture is assigned. From upload texture, which passes back by value, right? Yep. So this is the move. I'll just have to set it, the ambifix, just before I do this. I suppose set the ambifix. Nobody knows how to do that, but we're going to do that here. I already have an ambifix. Yeah. Isn't that nice? So it's probably only necessary when we have a debug. So the something like set ambifix, I guess. Ambifix, and well, ambifix plus .m font texture. What is my ambifix here? Who cares what it is? I have it. It's mine. So this plus, I'm not even sure anymore which I need. Ambifix to jump to. Ambifix plus operator. I was using this one, I think, right? Plus a string. Okay, that appends the ambifix postfix to what I pass. And that's it. So it's a prepend to the postfix. I think I want to append to the prefix, really. So this here says ambifix plus prefix. Yeah, makes kind of more sense though. Come to turn it around. Plus ambifix. We do not have a set ambifix. Can I make one? Texture. Cannot find. The font texture is simply a shader resource texture. Which has an ambifix if the debug in the debug mode. Which is initialized empty. Ryan Hussein, it is NeoVim. NVim or NeoVim. Hi Penfrog and welcome Andrew, if you're still sitting quietly. Didn't see you there. Said ambifix is private. Yeah, well. Yeah, well, the thing is also being used only by the IMG, right? So it's kind of. Oh no, I'll just make it public. We'll just make it public. My job is it's nothing. I don't have a job. No, this is what I do all day. Every day, 7 days a week. Okay, what we have here is something that compiles. And we're going to run it again. It cannot crash at the same assert. I don't believe it. Why not? Because I completely eradicated the code that caused that assert. We have an assert. We have the exact same assert as before. What? What? Yep. Again. Oops. Which UBT? GDB. And again. There is no stack. What went wrong here? I didn't run it yet. I am hungry. Cannot be hungry. Possible. Okay, we core dump again. Up, 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 up. There's the assert. We are calling again from an ambifix owner as if nothing happened. Sample texture, but it's not the IMG font texture. No. It's a sample texture. I'm starting to hate these debug ambi fixes. They're being an annoyance currently. Seriously annoyance. So this is simply not working, right? Yeah, if I fix this, then in the same way, we are also going to get the same problem for the uniform buffers, because I think I'm passing that like to everything, all those objects that are being constructed from test applications like this one. Which means that I can find them all by grabbing the project sources, using this, and then something, and then debug name prefix. That's the thing that doesn't work. There's a lot of them. All of these things will fail. This is user code, so we want something that is simple, and now I don't care, you know, at some point I just don't care how I'm going to get it to work. I just want the user of this code to have an easy day. Meaning well, might even not require CW debug only. Let's just let him just pass this. And we will call this the ambifix prefix. Or debug name. It's also good. Debug name would be better, I think. Okay, I think I just made the life of the user a lot easier. And my life a lot harder, of course. This has implications on the constructor of the texture, which no longer takes an ambifix. Nor are we going to do this one. Although this, I mean, you must set the ambifix later on, so this still applies. Ambifix, yeah, goodbye. No, we don't. And this is just a character cons pointer, and it's a debug name. Well, not really. I don't know what it is. I just call it debug name. And we have to store it somewhere. Hey, why not in the ambifix? Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, otherwise I just need to make it larger and larger and larger. Can I abuse this thing? Let's abuse the heck out of it and store it in the ambifix. Anyway, what does this thing take? Yeah, it takes a string, no problem. It's stored in the prefix. So which part is not working then? Just the debug name prefix is not working. That's the whole problem. It's the only problem. So yes, that's just that's so we pass this character cons pointer to the ambifix. It's going to pick this constructor here, make a temporary standard string, and move that to the prefix, and the postfix is empty. No problem there. Still need to call set ambifix later on though. Or maybe just not set ambifix, but more like fix it. Prepend maybe. Prepend ambifix. Something different than this. Okay, that's one, and then the uniform buffer, of course. Uniform buffer. Same thing. Get cons pointer for the debug name. Something like that. Now we get a compile warning or something, I guess. So this is only being used when the debug mode is on. I think that works. Should have done that with the texture as well. Well, this is only debug. Yeah, I need to add it here. So unused argument here. I think I have an unused arc. Yep. This should compile. Absolutely not. No compile inside. Error, reference to non-static member function must be called. Did you mean to call it with no arguments? No matching constructor for initialization of shadow builder something texture. Error no member name set ambifix. Okay, so what I really want to do is add a dot. Add a dot in front of it. It's more like wanting to combine two ambifixes, where one of them only has the prefix set. It's more complicated than that. I need to create an ambifix owner. Oh, I already have that. Well, in IMU case anyway. It's really an ambifix owner, but that is derived from ambifix. So I have an ambifix and I want to insert this append it to the prefix of that. But if I would also have a postfix, then you could argue that I wanted to use it as an infix. Yeah, my mother did not like it. The keyboard was a bit big. I doubt anyone got that dirty joke. It was related to chat, by the way. Okay, so no, not since before birth. Since I was 12, I have been coding. Yeah, King. Yeah. It is very complex and it is not finished. And it's like an open brain surgery. Did you read the description that is below the stream? Ambifix object name might work. Passing it as. Do I have access to the current ambifix here? Back to texture. I have access to the ambifix as a const reference. This uses the object name of the current ambifix as an infix of the ambifix that is passed. Which kind of makes sense, believe it or not. At the very least, I don't want to see a compile error anymore on that line. Ambifix is a private member of texture. Totally private. No, I'm gonna make it public. Otherwise I have to call base. Kind of seems pointless. Oops. Okay, well then you understand that it's a bit difficult to explain. It's a game. Okay, I'll try. It's sort of a game engine. Like Vulkan is the successor of OpenGL. API to controlling GPUs. My Vulkan engine aims specifically on automating a lot of stuff, because Vulkan is super low level and it's a bit too low level to my feeling. So I don't want to be bothered by all kinds of. There we go again. I don't want to be bothered by all kinds of super low level Vulkan stuff. So I'm writing a horrible amount of code that takes all that work from me. Well, maybe that could be a plan, although that is so much work that I doubt that we'll ever finish that. I think that if I ever finish it far enough, then I think that the first thing I'm going to make is more like, I don't know, Spielerei. Just some fun stuff. Font texture. Okay. No member name set ambifix. Yep. Hello. It compiles again. I'm missing something. I did something with texture, but I did not do it for the uniform buffer. In fact, I only did it for IMG. Yes. Do I still need to fix the ambifix? At some point. And then why not during the creation of it? During the creation of it. Before the usage of the ambifix. Which is probably the creation of it. Create. There is a create. I created a create today. Where was it? Source vulkan. Shader builder. Shader resource. This create, which is empty for the texture. Aha. Cannot no longer be empty. Let's add it in front of the update descriptor set. It would be here. Alright, cannot be repeated. Texture. And then, yeah, in case of debug, debug mode, debug, and if we have to fix the ambifix, yes, add ambifix. And then I need to pass an ambifix, which is simply debug name prefix. Or that bloody thing takes a prefix. What? What would it be without a prefix? Prefix. S postfix this. S postfix by any chance public. Ooh, like that. No. Remove prefix. This. Oh, it's constructing an ambifix owner. Right. owning window, move the prefix as POSIX owning window. Logical device is set right here, and or we use a logical device. Cannot get around the prefix apparently. Yeah, unless I would call as POSIX myself, but we're not going to do that. I'll just pass an empty prefix, I guess. I don't see another way, unless let me see what exactly is this doing. Already have a prefix. POSIX owning window. Prefix is yeah, the prefix is nonsensical. Damn it, this whole thing doesn't make any sense. Jumped over it, I think. I jumped over it. EVIO, Tracy, operating system, memory allocator, render graph, texture. There is no create for uniform buffer. Oh boy. Oh, right. It's also private. It's all private, man. Well, this is a terminal. I don't think there's anything better than a command line. No variable overloaded equal sign for add mbfix, and mbfix becomes mbfix something. Why not? Candidate function, the implicit copy assignment operator, not viable. This argument has type const. Oh, what do you mean const? I don't see a const. Ambifix is const. Oh, right. Yeah, you cannot update it when it is const. The stupidity. Thinking that you could do that. Yeah, also already removed it here. Add ambifix was made public here. Why? Okay, but because I'm using it. I don't know. 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 Shall I make the other one public as well then? Might come in handy sometimes. Use of undeclared identifier add ambifix. Still. Uniform buffer base. Oh, wait a minute. What? Gotta be kidding me. Yeah, that's not nice. That's not nice. But why is it part of the template? Apparently it is. I added this to the template. Is there any reason why I would add this to the template? No, the size should be part of the template, but not this. Seems utter nonsense. Let's move that up to the uniform buffer base. Clang. Member initializer ambifix does not name a non-static. Oh. What? Ambifix debug name, debug name. Oh, right. Well, anyway, this has to go. Oops. This has to go to the base class constructor, which I do not even know if I have that one. I do. No, I do not. This is uniform buffer. No, the base, that makes sense. Not going to do yeah. Okay, so it compiles. Hallelujah, hallelujah. I need the jingles. We are crashing with what? A cordon on an assertion. Should only be called once. Set declaration is called more than once. My take on header only libs, I have no idea why people think that is a benefit. I think it's just, you know, people have a certain skill set, and when build systems is not among that, they know how to do include quote blah blah dot h quote, and they do not know how to use CMake and use a library. It's really as simple as including a header. You don't need a header only library. Complete nonsense. Learn CMake. Learn your build system. What is this? Getting slightly tired here. I mean, not really tired, but tired of all the errors and the non-progress. Okay, so set declaration is apparently called more than once. I think that the reason that I say I'm getting tired of this is because I just want to immediately understand what's going on. I see this and then I think, oh yeah, of course, you know, like that. And I don't have that with this. In this case, I'm like, what? I have no idea what's wrong here. No idea what's wrong, and I don't like that. I want to do which anyway. UBT, GDB. Let's see where this happens. Well, it's my own code. The code is open source. It's on GitHub. You can download it for free. I am the sole author of all of it. Up. Set declaration is being called on uniform buffer. Yeah, I'm glad that I agree that it should be called only once. This particular uniform buffer is being passed to add uniform buffer. Can I print a thing? Does it tell me what it is? That's a left position uniform buffer. Obviously, I have only one of those. So why would it be adding it twice? That's really strange. So here it's being added. Shader input data add uniform buffer. Window M left buffer. Okay, here it is the other one, I guess. No, it's not. It's up there. Here's the other one. So for one pipeline 0 we call this, and then for pipeline 1 we also call it, but slightly different. Different pipelines should be using different shader input data. It cannot be the pipeline. Different pipelines these different pipelines have different pipeline factories. So there should be different objects. I really do not understand when or how this is calling twice. Well, no, I won't. I've been giving away what I do my whole life. It's probably very stupid. But largest part of my life I have been working on open source. I'm more or less a full-time open source programmer, which means I've worked very hard my whole life and not getting paid anything for it. On the upside, I have always been able to do exactly what I want and like, and if I don't like it, I don't do it, because I'm the one who decides what I do. If you get paid, you have to do what they tell you to do, and if you don't agree, then you have a shitty job, if you ask me. I'm not very stress resistant. Well, I cannot answer that. Won't answer that. Okay guys, how are we going to attack this problem? This function is being called twice on the same object. Why? Or is it? I guess we have to add... I could add a breakpoint, but then you get confused with different objects maybe? Let's try to use the debugger for once. But this is inside add uniform buffer. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. Or is it? Where am I? List minus. Yeah, add uniform buffer. So I can put a breakpoint. Let's put a breakpoint. I'm gonna put a breakpoint on 450, and then let's run it from the beginning. Breakpoint at 450, and if I would continue executing this, I would be calling set declaration on uniform buffer. I already have uniform buffer. I can print a pointer to it, so that is this object. I'm going to do a next, I think. I do one in one thread. I do a next, and the other thread is on. Ah, let's run! Bang! Breakpoint. I didn't want that. I just wanted the current thread to do one next step. This makes no sense. Well, I guess, I don't know. Anyway. This time it is a different pointer. So that's no problem. And I really want to continue in the other thread. Info threads. Which was my first thread. This one, thread pool 1, thread 3. So I'm gonna go to thread 3 again. I'm stubborn. This time I set the scheduler locking, I think. Scheduler locking. Step. There we are. Or at line 450 for some reason, thought there was a breakpoint, and I did the next. Doesn't even say which thread I'm in now. Which thread? Again, info threads. Thread 3. I'm just going to do next. Next. Okay. Next. 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 Now we call set declaration. I'll print it again as if we are starting over. I'm calling set declaration on this object. Yep. Next. Now we have done it. Now I'm going to do continue. No, the other one has already stopped. I'm going to switch to that thread. It's a different thread, but anyway, thread 4. Next, and this one is then calling it on that object. And then we do next. Okay, now do continue. Though I should really maybe see where we came from. Well, let's do that the second round. I first want to see that it's really calling it twice with my own eyes. Continue. Thread 4 hits it again. So I'm gonna do next. Might as well put my breakpoint here, I think. Break 4, 5, 6. Delete 1. Print uniform buffer pointer. We already had that one in thread 3. So yeah, this is not good. So it's a different thread. Well, yeah, it doesn't say much. It could still be the same task, but looks like that. It looks like a different task is calling the same object, adding the same object. Yeah. No, of course it is. Of course it is. No, those are the pointers. Pointers to the uniform buffer base. I could not remember them, so I pasted them in the chat. Okay, I'm again in deep shit here. Definitely deep shit. Both pipelines use the same uniform buffer. And why not? That is allowed. Or is it? Well, they are allowed to if they only read it. So the CPU is writing to it once and both pipelines read it. That's how this test application works, and that therefore it is allowed. So yes, that can happen. And then I do an add in both. I'm doing add in both. Step. And then the declaration is already set. Yeah. So I cannot store the M declaration here in this object. The object is read only. Should be read only. Note how this thing is const and still I'm writing to it. And that is because M declaration was made mutable. And it turns out that it's not possible at all. It's not possible. Cannot do that, man. Who is reading this? The thing that is reading it is calling this accessor here. So that was to get a binding. I added it today, I think, this code. Maybe yesterday. It's new of him. Okay, I know what to do, but I don't feel like it. I think I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Continue tomorrow. Well, this is, I think the solution is to do the same thing as I do here for the set index. So instead of reading reading a declaration from the shader resource, I'm just going to read the constant set key from the shader resource. And then I need a get declaration. So a get declaration from the key. No conversion needed. I can just call binding and then we're done. So basically I'm getting something like so this should work. So next to get set index hint, I need to add a get declaration, which also takes a key and then returns the declaration pointer, from which then I can get a binding. That's pretty random, Bleach fan. I like Bleach as well. Is it still running? Shader input data. Where are we? We are in shader input data. So that would be here indeed. Undo. Let me add a get declaration here. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, the only conclusion that you can draw is that the people that subscribe to me also like the same videos as you like. So the algorithm says Mr. X is subscribed and Mr. Y is subscribed. And Bleach and X and Y also like the other videos. Those other videos. Probably porn. Everyone likes porn, so. And then the algorithm thinks, and probably also all like C++. It is NeoVim, yeah. What shall I put here? That's why I should stop, because I'm distracting myself with all kinds of things. What is the type that the thing has to return? A declaration, a shader declaration? I have no clue. I go back and I see that what we need is something where I can call my binding on. This is set binding. This is shader resource declaration, I guess. Although it could also be the shader resource declaration context, which also has a binding, but no, this one takes an argument. Or it could be a vertex attribute. Yeah, no. No, okay, so that's what it was. And then we have to jump back here and then adding that as the thing. Yeah, I mean, do I have those stored somewhere already? Contexts, yeah, here in the DLSLID2 shader resource container map. So could store iterators to it. Iterators can be converted to pointers. Might as well return a pointer, I think. Const pointer. And then I have to implement this. Assert false. Fix me. Implement. And suppress the compile error. And then let's see if this compiles. Well, not everyone, or at least they can be very, very different. One likes these kind of videos and other likes the other ones. Unknown type name shader resource declaration. That you mean shader builder? 34, 35, 36, 38, 39, 40. It compiles. Great. So if now I run it, I crash in that assert that I just added. Right. Wrong. Crash here. Still don't see. Why? Oh, because it's setting it. Yes. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, tomorrow, because good night, everyone.